These videos are brought to you by MSCCasino.com and the Macau Sporting Club. MSCCasino.com, check it out. Also, be sure to check out PF Painters and their website, pfpainters.com.
You are watching Sports Matters TV.
Okay guys, welcome to Sports Matters TV in association with the Macau Casino Cork City, PF Painters. And guys, it doesn't get bigger than this. A man that I've been following for many, many years. He knows how to make noise. And of course, Octagon 71. Next week in Germany, he's preparing for a mega fight that will no doubt put him into the top 10 in the world. Maybe even a title shot. That's the way he's going. But Denis the Menace, how's things, my man? I know you're always working hard. How has the training been these last couple of weeks for you, my man?
Yeah, like you say, always working hard. Always taking a professional approach to the sport, and always trying to build off the last victory and the last bit of momentum. So just keep that momentum going. Obviously, we're a week out now, exactly a week out today. Got a big fight, like you just said as well. Gonna propel me after I finish this guy into the top 10 for sure. I deserve to be in the top 10 after this, I believe. So let's just see. As I say, we've got 7 days. So.
And Denis, look, you know how to make noise. Anywhere you go, you make noise. You know what I mean? You've been active quite a while, but I think anywhere you go, you make noise. Any promotion, you know, that you've been on, you've made noise. Oktagon MMA, they absolutely love having you on that roster. It's probably fair to say, look, the top 10 has been calling for a while, but you're definitely destined to be in that top 10. And look, I won't be surprised if there's a title fight in due course, because you're obviously going up the ranks quite fast. And that's down to all the hard work and your charisma and your attitude.
Yeah, I think ability to sell a fight as well as my skill set. If you can sell a fight and then you can back it up as well, it puts you on the fast track a little bit, doesn't it? Yeah, I would imagine title shot is within arm's reach. You know, I do have quite long arms, so it might be a bit more in my reach than other people's. But yeah, I'm on a bit of a win streak now. So continue that win streak for another 2-3 fights, and the world's my oyster. I think the lightweight division in Octagon is wide open. Kate has gone back down to featherweight, as far as I understand. Ronald Paradisi has gone up to welterweight, and I think those would have been the two probably hardest fights in the division in that top 10. So once I've cleared Arijan out of the way, and then there's a top 10 opponent, and then maybe one more top 10 opponent, and then I should be in and around the title picture. So we could say maybe next year, all going well, you know, inshallah, all going well, next year should be a title fight, I'd imagine.
Yeah,
but obviously we're not overlooking next week's challenge with Arijan. You know, I have to win fights to get there, obviously.
Definitely. And look, speaking of Arijan, look, obviously a good opponent, a worthy opponent. What's your thoughts on obviously going back to Germany again? The Irish lads, you know what I mean, they're all doing well at the moment, but obviously going back there, you're familiar with the surroundings. You know, yet again, an incredible organization, Octagon, but like it's something that won't phase you, my man. Obviously, look, you won't overlook opponents, but it's going to be a great fight, and it's got the potential to be perhaps fight of the year, you know.
I think for it to be fight of the year, it would need to be a closely contested bout, a back and forth sort of war. I don't believe it's going to be fight of the year. I think it's going to be an absolute domination by me. Not even remotely close to fight of the year. It might be performance of the night, might be performance of the year, but it will not be fight of the year because he won't get anywhere near me. He will not touch me. You can see the strike differentials when it comes to my fights, my last, I don't know, 4 or 5 fights, whatever it's been in Octagon. The strike differential is crazy. Like, I think I'm landing people like 100 plus significant strikes to like 20 or 30. And that's, I think, even being generous to the opponents, you know, where they land like a little leg kick and they give them a little significant strike just because otherwise it looks a bit silly. But I can't remember the last time I got caught clean in the face. So I think, yeah, as I say, I'm going to absolutely clinic this guy. No one's ever outstruck me, dominated me on the feet across amateur or professional. Um, at very most, it's only ever been a close fight on the feet, and that's been with much better strikers when I was much less experienced. So this guy doesn't have any of the tools necessary to bring me into those deep waters. I will bring him into deep waters. And as far as I know, eagles are very good at flying, but they're not very good underwater. So I will drown him. And as I said, move on to the next step. I am fighting for I believe, the premier organization in Europe at the moment. Stepping into what could be perceived as hostile territory in Germany, but I do believe that the German fans are on my side for this one. Ironically, I won them over in that last fight against Robin Frank. You know, Arijan represents Albania. He doesn't represent Germany. So he's got the Albanian fans. I've got the German fans on my side.
Oh, looks that way, definitely. And look, your fight game is incredible. Look, you could go all day. You could go 10 rounds, 5 rounds if you had to. But obviously, you're working hard. You know what I mean? Good genetics. You work hard. You're putting in the work every year. And we're seeing a really destructive side of you. You're so good. It's going to be, as you said, it's going to be hard to get near you in that octagon. But the best is to come, and I can only imagine where you're going to be in 12 months, 24 months. But you love the game, Dennis. You love the game, and you're putting in the hours and the days and the months and the years. But listen, there's so much ahead for you, my man. And obviously, look, you were destined to do this.
100%. I do believe that I was destined to do this. I was made for this. When I first started martial arts, it's quite old as far as starting martial arts with jiu-jitsu at the age of like 22. Um, that wouldn't be a spring chicken in the game. Like a lot of people have already been doing it 8 years, 9 years, 10 years at that age. But as soon as I started it, I just had the proficiency for it from the offset and the work ethic and the love for the sport as well, where I was willing to put those hours in and I was willing to put that grind in to get better at it. Um, and then, like you said, obviously God's blessed me with athletic genetics. I'm quite explosive. I'm quite fit. Like you said, I could go 10 rounds. I just like to put it like if I'm going to the death, I shouldn't get tired ever, let alone in 15 minutes with rests in between. So I'm willing to go there. I'm willing to go to those dark places. I'm willing to go to the death. And I train hard. Training camp is way harder than most of the fights I've had because when you're that deep in those dark waters in a training camp, in the trenches, going through pain, going through feeling like your lungs are going to explode, like your head's going to explode, you're going to get sick. You get to the fight and it's just like, oh, this is so much easier than anything I've done. And it's so much harder for you to quit because you're like, there's no way I did all those sprints, or there's no way I did all that heavy lifting, and there's no way I did all those rounds with like the hardest rounds I could find so that I could quit now in this cage against this guy.
No, the work pays off. And like speaking of your team, Dennis, obviously, look, it's always important to have good people around you, which you do, but you have a great team. You're working hard, there's good people around you. Like, what does that mean to you on your journey moving forward? Because it's essential to have the right people around you. And look, it seems like you do.
100%. Obviously, my head coach, Carl Prince, a real obsessive guy when it comes to the game of MMA, has a knack and an eye for it. Like, and then obviously the team he's put together and the people I have around me, the likes of Lerone Murphy, the likes of Lewis McGrillen, the likes of Louis Lee Scott, the likes of Atiba Gauthier, just across all weight divisions, and guys in PFL smashing it, guys in the UFC smashing it at the highest level, the guys in Octagon smashing it, like Jonas McGard's over there as well, former champion as well. He does be over. He's just been over himself. So yeah, just seeing the level that everyone's at, it brings the whole standard up of everyone else in the gym. So you realize you can't slack off because you'll be left behind.
Mm.
So that I already had a hard working mentality coming into that gym, but seeing everyone else work hard as well brings my standards up, like I say.
No, it does. And the game is changing. Look, we speak of obviously Ireland and the UK. There's so many good fighters coming through, Dennis. So many good fighters. There must be you know what I mean? It must be inspiring to you to see all these guys look up to you as well. All these younger lads in the gym, they're watching you, they're watching what you're doing. Obviously, you take great comfort from that these guys are watching you, and you know what I mean. They're going to probably be on similar paths to you in a couple of years too.
Yeah, it inspires me a little bit as well that I'm inspiring someone else. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I get messages off people, and yeah, honestly, it warms my heart a little bit because I never really started MMA to like inspire anyone else to do it or anything like that. But if you know, even if it's just one person, it makes me feel good about the fact that I can do that for someone else, or like inspire someone else that's a bit later in their career, maybe someone that's in their early 20s. It's like, oh, you only started martial arts at 22. Like, wow, that means I can do it. I'm only 21 or I'm only 22. I thought it was too late for me. And then you tell them, nah, like it's never too late, you know, as long as you put the work in. So in that respect, yeah, it does warm my heart a little bit. And it scares me a little bit as well, because then I see all these young kids that are 11, 12, and they're already like at a level of skill where I'm like, fucking hell, like I'm only there now. So when they're like 25, 26, 27, it's going to be scary, but I'll be long retired by then. So I'll have rode into the sunset. I'm not looking to get fed to some 19-year-old prodigy that's been doing it since he's 5 years old. So yeah.
Smart business. And look, you can't bullshit MMA, Dennis. You know it's one of the toughest things in the world. Many dark places, many corners you have to go to get out the other side. Um, it's a tough game, and you know that, man. You know you put in the work, you've been in the fights. It is a scary sport, but yet again, you have to be built of something different to get through it and to get to the other side.
To be honest, I don't really think it's that scary. I think it looks way scarier from the outside looking in. Interesting fact for you, more people die a year doing marathons
Mm.
than die in any combat sport put together. So, you know, to say that, does that make marathons scary? Probably not, but it looks a bit more brutal from the outside. It's not as brutal as you might think. Um, yeah, it is a tough sport. It is, I believe, the toughest sport in terms of the training, in terms of the weight cuts, in terms of like the mindset, the walking out, the knowing that there's another guy that's going to try and hospitalize you. Yeah, it's tough in that respect, but I love it. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, I just think certain people you'll either love it or you'll hate it, and I love it. You know, so
And you're good at it. Now, you mentioned obviously, look, we know Octagon, definitely the best promotion in Europe right now. By a mile, I think it's incredible. You know, we've seen what Will Fleury's done, speaks highly of it, and you know what I mean. It comes to that stage where America comes calling. Okay, we have to mention the UFC. Okay, and Octagon, you'll be there for a long time to come. Obviously, you've got much business to sort out there and challenge for belts and stuff. But is it fair to say, look, that dream in due course could be the UFC or PFL? But obviously, look, UFC being the kiddie, it's probably the place where we all want to be. Is that
yeah,
something that you will look at in due course? And look, I'm sure it's going to come your way, and you'll have decisions to make.
yeah. I'll leave that decision for when the time comes. Like I said, I take every fight as it comes. For me, I- I'm a prize fighter at the end of the day. You know, people ask me, "Oh, you do that UFC stuff," and like, yeah, in that respect, it is the Premier or the yeah, you could say the Premier League, yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm sure like footballers that play in La Liga or in the Bundesliga don't go, "Oh, like woe is me, I play in the top promotion in Germany rather than in the Premier League." Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
I'm still doing what I love and I'm still getting paid for it. And as long as I continue to get paid enough to keep myself going and to look after my family, I don't care if it's the UFC that pays me, Octagon, PFL, KSW, whatever. Do you know what I mean? I don't care uh, what three-letter promotion it is that pays me. As long as I'm getting paid well, I'm getting paid enough, and I'm getting paid what I'm worth, then that's the important part, you know. But yeah, obviously, it would be nice to prove myself and prove my skills against the elite of the elite in terms of the opponents that I could get, you know, on the world stage, which is the UFC. But we'll see. Like I said, one step at a time.
Respected, humble and respect. Now, let's get three quick fire questions before we wrap it up. Okay, so in your opinion, Dennis, who's the greatest fighter of all time?
Anderson Silva.
Who's the current best fighter in the world right now besides yourself?
John Jones.
And when it's all said and done, and you know, well, we're talking to you in 10, 15 years time, because I can see you fight until your 40s, you know what I mean, going
Yeah.
undefeated for 15 years. But you know, what would you like to look back on and say, look, I've contributed so much to MMA. What could you see around the waist and the shoulders? Many titles and lots of money.
Um, for me, it's about spreading martial arts to places that they aren't yet. It's nothing to do with titles. It's nothing to do with the money necessarily. Obviously, that comes as a result, and like you need money and you need titles to inspire other people to be like, oh, he did something in the sport, and he has, and having the money as well in order to invest in the sport in those places. But I would like to bring MMA more to Africa than it currently exists, and be a sort of a pioneer in that respect because like my dad's home country, Ghana, MMA doesn't really even exist. Like it's you'll struggle to find an MMA gym. I don't think there are any MMA gyms. There's a bit of boxing, a bit of judo, but there's not really any MMA. So that would be the legacy I want to leave behind is to be the godfather of Ghanaian MMA and bring MMA there and help it grow there and inspire those young kids that are athletically gifted and talented and have the work ethic and have the reason why because they are in poverty and there's not really many ways out of it. So to be able to bring that there and bring the skills that I've learned and acquired in my lifetime, bring that there and then grow the sport there, that would be the legacy I want to leave behind.
Perfect goal. And last of all, look, next week, Germany. Do you get the stoppage? Do you get the win? Do you do it early? What's your prediction?
Second round TKO, I believe. KO or TKO in the second round. Obviously we're co-main event, so it's a bit of a late fight. Yeah, we get to steal the show, I think.
Don't see why not, Dennis. Listen, my man, you're a character, an absolute fighter, and we're looking forward to next week. We'll have it live at the Macau Casino, Cork City. But we'll catch up with you soon, my man, in person, and we're wishing you all the best. You know, fight camp is going well, and look, the big ones next week. But Dennis, it's an honor as always, my man, and I'll see you soon, champ.
100%. Nice one for having me on, Jerry. Yeah.